The sky above Colony 7 was always gray, not because of clouds, but because of the ships. Huge alien warships floated like silent monsters, blocking the stars. For 5 years, the Galactic Empire had ruled this human world. They said it was peaceful occupation. Humans knew the truth. It was a cage. Soldiers in black armor walked the streets every day. Their weapons were always ready. Their eyes never showed emotion to them. Humans were small, weak, temporary. On this day, a crowd stood in the central square. They were ordered to gather. No one knew why. When the Empire asked, humans obeyed. Disobedience always ended the same way. A patrol ship landed with a loud metallic scream. Dust filled the air. Alien soldiers marched out in perfect lines. At the front stood a tall alien commander. His skin was pale blue. His eyes were cold and empty. He raised one clawed hand, remained silent. He said through a translator. The crowd froze. From the back of the square, a small human child ran forward. He could not have been more than 8 years old. He was holding a small metal toy ship, scratched and broken. Maybe he thought the soldiers were there to see it. Maybe he was just curious. Children still believed the world could be kind. The boy stopped a few steps from the soldiers. "Mama?" he called, turning around. The sound echoed in the square. The commander tilted his head. "Unauthorized movement," he said calmly. A human woman tried to push through the crowd. "That's my son," she shouted. "Please, he's just a child." The alien commander did not look at her. "Human children are irrelevant," he replied. "Order must be enforced." One soldier raised his weapon. The crowd gasped. Some turned away. Others screamed. The boy looked confused. He did not understand the words. He only saw the bright light forming at the end of the weapon. The shot was quick. Flash. The toy ship fell to the ground. The child fell with it. For 1 second, there was silence. Then the square filled with cries. Mothers screamed. Fathers clenched their fists, but did nothing. They had learned helplessness well. The commander looked at the body without emotion. "One human child," he said, his voice loud and clear, "means nothing. Humans reproduce quickly." He turned to leave. "Let this be a lesson." The soldiers marched back to their ship. The engines roared. The ship lifted into the gray sky and vanished. The crowd slowly broke apart. No, one touched the child's body. They were afraid. At the edge of the square, a woman stood perfectly still. She did not scream. She did not cry. Her name was Arya Kane. She walked forward and knelt beside the small body. She picked up the broken toy ship and closed her hand around it. Her face showed no tears, only a deep, silent calm. People whispered behind her, "She's in shock. She loved that boy more than anything." They were wrong. Arya gently lifted her son and carried him away. Her steps were steady. Her breathing was controlled. Inside her mind, something old had awakened. At night, Colony 7 was quiet. Too quiet. In a small room far from the square, Arya placed her son on a simple bed. She covered him with a cloth. Then she stood alone in the dark. She looked at the wall. Behind it, hidden for years, was a sealed metal case. She placed her hand against it. The case opened with a soft, mechanical sound. Inside were old military symbols. Data chips. A faded insignia marked with a human star and a sword. Arya took one chip and slid it into a small communicator. The screen flickered. A voice spoke after a long pause. Signal recognized. It said, "General Kane." "Is that you?" Arya closed her eyes for a moment. "Yes," she replied. "It's me." There was silence on the other end. Then disbelief. "You were declared inactive, retired, gone." "I was," Arya said calmly. "Until today." "What happened?" The voice asked carefully. They killed my child. She said. The silence this time was heavy. Finally, the voice spoke again, much lower now. Do you want us to begin preparations? Arya looked down at her closed hand. She opened it. The broken toy ship lay in her palm. Yes, she said. Begin. She ended the call. Outside, the alien ships floated peacefully. Unaware, the Galactic Empire believed humans were weak. They believed peace had softened them. They believed one child meant nothing. They were wrong. The Galactic Empire slept. Peacefully that night, across thousands of stars, their fleets drifted in perfect order. Their commanders believed control was complete. Humans had not resisted in generations. They worked, obeyed, and survived quietly. They did not know a name had been spoken again. Arya Kane stood alone in her room as the communicator went dark. The silence felt heavy, but her mind was clear. Too clear. She removed the cloth from her son's face one last time. He looked peaceful, as if asleep. For a moment, a memory tried to rise, his laughter, his questions, the way he followed her everywhere. She pushed it down. Emotion could wait. War could not. Arya closed the case and sat on the floor beside it. Her back straightened without thought. Her breathing slowed. The woman who had lived quietly for years was gone. What remained was a general. Far away. In deep space, an old human relay station powered up after decades of silence. Its systems were ancient, but alive. Encrypted signals spread like whispers through forgotten channels. One by one, people listened. On a remote mining world, an old man paused while drinking water. His eyes widened as a familiar code appeared on his wrist display. That's not possible, he whispered. On a station hidden inside an asteroid. A woman stopped mid-step as alarms only she could hear began to sound. On a hospital ship, a surgeon closed her eyes and slowly sat down. The same thought echoed everywhere. She's alive. General Kane is alive. 3,000 years ago. Humans had almost lost everything. The Galactic Empire had been young then, hungry and cruel. They saw humanity as a resource. Planets to take. Bodies to use. Humans fought back, but badly. They were outmatched. Their ships were weaker. Their weapons slower. Their numbers falling. Until Arya Kane rose. She was not the strongest soldier. She was not the loudest leader. She was the smartest. She learned how the Empire thought. How they planned. How they feared embarrassment more than death. She used silence as a weapon. Patience as armor. Under her command, human fleets stopped charging forward. They waited. They hid. They struck where it hurt most. Supply lines. Command ships, symbols of power. Entire. Alien fleets vanished without warning. Alien admirals began refusing assignments that mentioned her name. They called her the Ghost General. The war ended not because aliens won, but because they were afraid. Peace was signed. Humans survived. Arya Kane disappeared. Official records said she retired. Some said she was forced out. Others believed she had died. The truth was simpler. She was tired. She had seen enough death to last many lives. When she found she was going to be a mother, she made a choice. She stepped away from war. She erased herself. She raised her child on a quiet world under a false name. She taught him kindness, curiosity, hope. She believed the galaxy had learned its lesson. She was wrong. In a dark command room far from Colony 7, a group of humans gathered around a single hologram. The image of Arya Kane flickered to life. Older now, calmer, colder. No one spoke at first. Finally, a man broke the silence. They killed a child, he said slowly. They crossed the line. They crossed it long ago, Arya replied. This time they crossed mine. A woman asked the question they all feared. Do you want a warning sent? A demand? Arya shook her head. No, she said. The Empire respects only strength. Words will only prepare them. Another voice spoke. Our fleets are hidden, but limited. This will wake the galaxy. Yes, Arya said. That is the point. She looked at each of them through the hologram. I do not want revenge, she continued. I want remembrance. I want the Empire to remember why humans were once feared. Silence followed. Then one by one, heads nodded. Orders moved quietly. Hidden shipyards activated. Old weapons were taken from storage. Artificial minds designed for war were awakened. On Colony 7, alien patrols noticed nothing. They walked the streets as usual. They laughed among themselves. They spoke of humans as animals. One soldier glanced at a human woman passing by and scoffed. They look broken, he said. No fight left. If he had looked closer, he might have noticed something changing. Human eyes no longer looked down. In her room, Arya placed her son's toy ship inside the metal case. She sealed it carefully. Then she put on an old jacket. Inside the fabric, hidden stitching revealed rank symbols long forgotten. She stood before a mirror, for the first time in years. She spoke her old title aloud. General. The word felt heavy. Familiar. Outside, the stars remained blocked by alien ships. They believed they were safe. They believed. The past was buried. They believed the woman who once terrified them was gone forever. The galaxy was about to remember a truth it had forgotten. A human general never truly retires. The first human ship moved without sound. It did not leave a trail. It did not bend light in a way that could be tracked. To alien sensors, it did not exist at all. Deep inside the ship, the lights were low. The crew spoke little. They did not need to. Every person there had once served under the same command. Arya Kane stood at the center of the bridge. She wore no armor, no weapons, only a simple dark uniform. But the room bent around her presence. People waited for her words, as if waiting for gravity to decide its direction. Status, she said. Stealth systems stable, an officer replied. Enemy sensors show no reaction. AI war core online and awaiting authorization. Arya nodded once. 3,000 years of peace had not weakened humans. It had hidden them. While the galaxy believed humans had chosen farming and trade, they had also chosen preparation. Quietly, carefully, deep in uncharted space. War technology did not grow loud. It grew invisible. On the edge of Empire-controlled space, an alien listening post floated alone. It was small, outdated, and poorly defended. To the Empire, it was unimportant. To Arya, it was perfect. This is a test, she said, not of power, of memory. The ship glided closer. Inside the alien station, officers talked lazily. One complained about duty hours. Another joked about humans being afraid of darkness. None of them noticed when their screens flickered. The human AI entered their systems like a whisper. No alarms. No warnings. Power shut down in careful steps. Life support remained active. Then the doors locked. On the bridge of the human ship, an officer looked at Arya. Station secured, he said. No casualties. Good, Arya replied. Fear travels faster when survivors exist. She turned away from the screen. Leave a message. A symbol appeared on the station's main display. A simple human mark. A star crossed by a blade. Then the human ship vanished. Hours later, Empire patrols discovered the silent station. The survivors were shaking, confused. Alive. They told the same story. We never saw them. In an Imperial command hall, a junior officer hesitated before speaking. This looks organized, he said. A superior dismissed him. Humans are incapable of this level of coordination. It must be internal failure. The report was filed and forgotten. That was the second mistake. Back on Colony 7, Arya prepared to leave. She walked through familiar streets for the last time. Humans watched her with quiet curiosity. They did not know who she was. They only felt something had changed. At the edge of the colony, an old man stepped forward. "They killed your boy," he said softly. "I'm sorry." Arya met his eyes. "They will answer for it," she replied. The man nodded. He did not ask how. Some truths do not need explanation. Arya boarded a small transport ship hidden beneath the city. As it lifted off, she looked once more at the gray sky. She did not look back. In deep space, human leaders gathered again. New reports appeared every hour. An Empire supply convoy disappeared. A communications relay went dark. A border fleet missed its check dash. No explosions. No wreckage. Just absence. Alien commanders grew uneasy. "Pirates do not move like this," one said. Another replied. "Then who does?" The answer arrived without words. A single human ship decloaked briefly above an Empire world. Long enough to be seen. Long enough to be recorded. Then it was gone. The message was clear. "We are here." Panic spread through the lower ranks. Empire began reviewing old war records. Names long buried returned. One file was marked Restricted Historical. Threat. It had not been opened in centuries. An elder commander stared at the screen as the image loaded. Arya Kane. His hands trembled. "That's impossible," he whispered, but the evidence kept coming. Attack patterns, tactical silence, psychological warfare. All signs pointed to one truth. "The Ghost General has returned," he said. Orders were sent. Fleets were repositioned. Weapons armed. Too late. Arya stood before a large star map aboard the human flagship. Red points marked Empire positions. "Do not rush," she told her commanders. "The Empire expects rage." She paused, then added, "We will give them patience instead." One officer frowned. "They killed your child." "Yes," Arya said quietly. "And because of that, I will not make mistakes." She touched a red point on the map. "This world," she continued, "symbolic, powerful, protected." The commanders looked at her. "You want to strike it?" One asked. "No," Arya said. "I want to let them watch it fall." Silence filled the room. Somewhere in the vast darkness, the Galactic Empire finally understood something was wrong. They still did not understand how wrong. The Galactic Empire moved its fleets for the first time in centuries. Warships shifted positions. Borders tightened. Commanders shouted orders they had not practiced in generations. The Empire told itself this was only caution, not fear. But fear had already entered their blood. On the human flagship, Arya Kane watched the movements in silence. Blue lines curved across the star map as alien fleets tried to protect their core worlds. "They are forming walls," an officer said. "Not traps." Arya nodded. "They don't know where we will hit," she replied. "So they guard everything." She folded her hands behind her back. "That makes every position weak." The target was not a capital world. It was not a military fortress. It was something far more important. A symbol. The Empire's central trade nexus, Virex Station. Millions passed through it every cycle. Merchants, diplomats, officers. It was proof of imperial order and control. No one had ever attacked it, because no one had ever dared. Virex Station floated between 3 star lanes, protected by layered defenses and constant patrols. From the Empire's view, it was untouchable. From Arya's view, it was perfect. "Begin Phase 1, she ordered. Human ships appeared around the station, not close enough to be seen, not far enough to escape if discovered. They waited. Minutes passed. Then systems began to fail. Docking traffic froze. Navigation signals twisted. Defense turrets rotated aimlessly. Inside Varrick's station, alarm screamed. "What's happening?" An alien officer shouted, "Unknown interference." Another replied, "Our sensors are blind." They tried to send distress calls. Nothing went out. The human AI had already sealed the station inside its own silence. Then Arya spoke again. Phase 2. Human ships fired not at the station, but at space itself. Gravitational anchors activated. Star lanes bent. The station was locked in place, unable to flee, unable to call for help. Inside the station, panic spread. Civilians screamed. Officers fought for control. Commanders demanded answers that did not exist. A single human vessel decloaked. Directly in front of the main viewing window. It did not fire. It waited. The station's commander stared at the screen, his voice shaking. "Open a channel." He demanded. The channel opened. Arya Kane appeared. Older, calm, unmoved. "I am General Arya Kane of humanity," she said. "This station is under human control." The commander swallowed. "This is an act of war." Arya tilted her head slightly. "No," she replied. "This is a reminder." She gestured, and the image behind her changed. It showed the central square of Colony 7. A still frame. A small body on the ground. The broken toy ship. "You killed a human child," Arya said quietly. "Without cause, without mercy." The commander tried to speak, but no sound came out. "You taught the galaxy that human lives are cheap," she continued. "I am here to correct that lesson." She cut the channel. Moments later, human forces disabled the station's weapons completely. They did not destroy Varrick's station. They took it. Every alien officer was disarmed. Every system locked. Human troops moved through corridors with precision and restraint. No civilians were harmed. No executions were made. That scared the Empire more than violence ever could. Across Imperial space, the news exploded. Varrick's station had fallen. No warning. No defense. No losses. The Empire's pride was broken in a single silent night in the Imperial High Council chamber. Chaos ruled. They cannot hold it. One voice shouted, "They already are." Another replied. An elder stood slowly. His voice cut through the noise. "This is not conquest," he said. "This is demonstration." Silence followed. "They want us to feel small," he continued. "The way they felt." Someone whispered the name, Arya Kane. The elder closed his eyes. "She has not come for territory," he said. "She has come for memory." On the human flagship, Arya watched Varrick's station from a distance. One officer asked carefully, "Why not destroy it?" Arya answered without turning. "Because destruction ends stories," she said. "Fear makes them travel." She looked at the stars beyond the station. "The Empire will respond," she added. "And when they do, they will make their final mistake." Far away, Imperial fleets began to gather. The Empire prepared to strike back. They still believed they could win. They still believed humans would break. They had not yet learned the final truth. Humans do not fight to conquer. They fight to teach. The Empire answered the fall of Varrick's station with noise. Sirens echoed across command worlds. Fleets were pulled from distant borders. Shipyards worked without rest. Old weapons were taken out of storage, their systems dusty and untested. The Empire told its people this was control. But inside the High Council chamber, the truth was spoken in low voices. "This is not a raid," an admiral said. "This is a campaign." Another replied, "Humans have never moved like this before." An elder tapped the table. "Humans have not been led like this before." The name returned again. Arya Kane. Records were unlocked that had been sealed for centuries. Old battle footage played on large screens, alien fleets burning, command ships going dark, supply lines erased without warning. Patterns emerged. Silence before impact. Precision without mercy. Mercy without weakness. An analyst spoke carefully. She is forcing us to react, he said. Every move we make shows her where we are afraid. The elder nodded slowly. She is not attacking our strength, he said. She is exposing it. Across Imperial space, fear began to leak into the open. Merchants delayed travel. Governors asked for more protection. Patrols fired at shadows. Human attacks continued, but never where expected. Fortress World lost its power grid for 6 minutes. Just long enough for every defense system to shut down and restart. Hey, Fleet Commander received false orders that sent his ships into empty space for days. A weapons factory exploded not from an attack, but from its own safety systems turning against it. No human ship was ever seen. Only the results. On Colony 7, alien soldiers grew tense. They no longer laughed. They no longer mocked the humans. They checked the sky often. One patrol passed a group of human workers. For the first time, the soldiers felt watched, not with hatred, not with certainty. In the human command network, Arya Kane studied the Empire's response. Data flowed around her like quiet rain. They are tightening their grip, an officer said. Civilian worlds are suffering. Arya's jaw tightened. We do not strike civilians, she said. Ever. She paused, then added, but we will let the Empire see the cost of protecting lives. She pointed to a cluster of stars. These fleets, she continued. They guard empty pride. Let them? An officer leaned closer. And the capital? Arya did not answer immediately. Instead, she opened a private channel. A human ship peered near an Imperial core. World close enough to be seen by millions. It broadcast. A single message across all frequencies. Recording. The alien commander from Colony 7 appeared on screen. His voice echoed across the stars. One human child means nothing. The image froze. Then text appeared beneath it. This was your choice? The broadcast ended. Panic followed. On Imperial worlds, protests began. Citizens demanded answers. Parents held their children tighter. The Empire had ruled through certainty for centuries. Now, certainty was gone. In the High Council chamber, an officer burst in. They are calling it a mother's war, he said. Across neutral systems. Across the outer races. The elder's face darkened. A mother's war, he repeated. He turned back to the old records. Arya. Kane's file showed one detail many had ignored. Status at time of retirement. Pregnant. The elder closed his eyes. We killed her child, he said softly. Silence fell like a weight. We did not just insult humanity, he continued. We wounded it. Another elder spoke, fear clear in his voice. Can we negotiate? The first elder shook his head. Not yet, he said. She is not finished teaching. On the human flagship, Arya stood alone for the first time since the war began. She looked at a small image displayed on her wrista. Scan of the toy ship. An officer approached carefully. The Empire is mobilizing everything, he said. They will strike soon. Arya nodded. They must, she replied. Fear demands action. She straightened. Prepare Phase 5, she ordered. The officer hesitated. That will expose us. Yes, Arya said. That is the point. She looked out at the stars. For centuries, the Empire believed humans were quiet because they were weak, she said. Now they will learn the truth. The officer swallowed. And if they destroy us? Arya turned to face him. They won't, she said calmly. They need us alive. She walked back toward the command center. Fear needs an answer, she added. Hope does not. Far away, Imperial fleets aligned for the largest strike in their history. Weapons powered up. Commanders rehearsed orders. They believed. They were about to end a threat. They did not. No, they were stepping exactly where Arya wanted them. The galaxy held its breath. The Empire struck at dawn. Across 12 star systems, alien fleets jumped into human-controlled space at the same moment. It was the largest coordinated attack the galaxy had seen in centuries. Millions of weapons powered up. Space itself seemed to vibrate with intent. Imperial commanders felt confident again. "This ends today," one admiral said. "Humans cannot face this force." The fleets moved forward, and found nothing. Human space was empty, no ships. No defenses. No resistance. Confusion spread. "Scan again," an officer ordered. "They must be hiding." Before the scan finished, space behind the Imperial fleet bent and folded. Human ships appeared, not hundreds, thousands, They rose from darkness like a storm that had been waiting patiently. Human vessels were smaller than Empire warships, but they moved faster. Their formation was not tight. It flowed, shifted, adapted. On the human flagship, Arya Kane watched calmly. "They committed everything," an officer said. "Exactly as predicted." "Yes," Arya replied. "Fear makes people honest." The first shots were not loud. Human ships targeted engines, not hulls. Command relays, not crews. Imperial warships began drifting, colliding, losing formation. Admirals shouted orders that never reached their ships. The Empire's strength, its numbers became its weakness. Within minutes, the battle turned chaotic. Then Arya gave the order. Now, human ships changed tactics instantly. Precision strikes hit command vessels at the center of each fleet. One by one, Imperial flags went dark. Alien crews panicked. "We're blind. Controls are locked. Who is commanding this?" The answer appeared on every Imperial screen. Arya Kane. Her image filled the displays. "I warned you," she said evenly. "You chose to answer with force." An Imperial admiral shouted back, "This war will cost you everything." Arya's eyes hardened. "It already did," she replied. She ended the transmission. The human fleet closed in, but they did not destroy. They surrounded. Trapped. Powerless, Imperial ships waited for the final blow. It did not come. Instead, Arya ordered all weapons to stand down. The galaxy watched in confusion. In the Imperial capital, the High Council stared at the battle feed in silence. Their greatest fleet was defeated and untouched. An elder whispered, "She's controlling the outcome." Another replied, "She's controlling us." On the human flagship, an officer stepped closer to Arya. "The Empire is requesting negotiation," he said. "Immediate surrender talks." Arya did not respond at first. She looked at the star map, at the trapped fleets, at the long list of worlds that had suffered under Imperial rule. Then she spoke. "I will meet them," she said. "In person." The meeting took place aboard the largest Imperial flagship. Human guards lined the corridors, calm and silent. Imperial officers stepped aside, fear clear in their posture. Arya entered the council chamber alone. The elders stood as she approached. One spoke. "Carefully. This war has gone too far." Arya looked at him. "You killed my child," she said. "You decided how far this would go." Another elder lowered his head. "We did not know who he was." Arya's voice dropped. "He was human," she said. "That should have been enough." Silence filled the room. "We offer surrender," the first elder said. "Withdraw your forces. Take territory. Take resources." Arya shook her head. "I do not want your land," she said. "I do not want your wealth." She stepped forward. "I want your promise. And your fear." The elders exchanged looks. "You will dismantle your occupation of human worlds," Arya continued. "You will place human lives under full galactic protection." And you will record this war exactly as it happened. She leaned closer. So the galaxy remembers why it must never happen again. One elder asked, his voice shaking. And if we refuse? Arya straightened. Then I finish what you started. The elders did not hesitate. We accept, they said together. Across the stars, Imperial fleets powered down. Occupation forces withdrew. Human worlds breathed freely for the first time in generations. The war ended as suddenly as it had begun. On Colony 7, alien ships lifted into the sky and left. Humans watched in silence, unsure if it was real. In her private quarters, Arya finally sat down. The war was over, but the weight remained. She opened the metal case and took out the broken toy ship. She held it gently, her hand trembling for the first time. Outside, the galaxy changed. New laws were written. Old empires humbled. Humanity's name spoken with care instead of laughter. Arya Kane had not conquered the stars. She had corrected them, and the galaxy understood. One final truth: do not test a peaceful species, and never, ever hurt a human child. The galaxy did not celebrate the end of the war. It stood quietly, as if afraid to speak too loudly. Across thousands of systems, news spread fast. The Galactic Empire had surrendered not to another empire, not to a greater force, but to humans. A species once labeled weak, predictable, safe. Now, every world listened when humans spoke. The surrender ceremony was broadcast across the galaxy. Imperial banners were lowered. Human representatives stood still, disciplined, silent. No cheers. No victory cries. Only witnesses. An Imperial elder read the final declaration with shaking hands. From this moment, he said, no human world shall be occupied. No human civilian shall be harmed. No human child shall ever be targeted by law, by force, or by neglect. The words echoed everywhere. They were not just law. They were warning. On Colony 7, people gathered again in the central square. This time, no weapons pointed at them. No orders were given. The sky was different. Clear. For the first time in years, stars were visible. A small memorial stood where the child had fallen. No statue, no grand design. Just a simple stone and a broken metal toy ship placed carefully on top. People stopped. Some bowed their heads. Some cried. They all remembered. Arya Kane watched from a distance. She did not step forward. Her part was finished. In the days that followed, the galaxy changed in quiet ways. Alien patrols withdrew from human space. Trade routes reopened, this time with respect. Human diplomats were welcomed, not dismissed. And everywhere, one name remained unspoken, but deeply felt: Arya Kane. Many wanted to see her, to praise her, to fear her. She refused all appearances. On a remote human world far from politics and war, Arya stood alone before a small grave. No guards. No flags. Just silence. She knelt and placed the toy ship gently into the earth. I kept my promise, she said softly. The wind moved through the grass. No answer came. She stood, wiped her hands, and turned away. That night, far away in the Imperial capital, the High Council met one last time to review the war records. The full truth was ordered to be stored, unedited. UNHIDDEN. An analyst spoke carefully. This conflict will be studied for thousands of years, he said. It began with a single shot. An elder nodded, and ended in Empire's pride. Another voice added, we believed peace made humans harmless. The elder corrected him. No, he said. Peace made them disciplined. He paused, and love made them dangerous. In academies across the galaxy, young officers studied the war. They learned a new lesson, written in simple terms. Humans do not seek war. Humans do not fear war. Humans finish war. Dot back on the human flagship. Now quiet and half-powered down, Arya Kane prepared to leave for the final time, that an officer approached her. "General," he said, "humanity owes you everything." Arya shook her head. "No," she replied. "Humanity protected itself." The officer hesitated. "What will you do now?" Arya looked out at the stars. "What I should have done all along," she said. "Live." She removed the insignia from her jacket and placed it on the table. "I am not a general anymore." She walked away. Months later, a new galactic charter was signed. At its center was a single clause, written in bold and translated into every known language. "No child is ever a target." The galaxy remembered how that rule was written. Not in ink, but in fear. On a quiet human world, a woman walked through a market unnoticed. Older now, lighter somehow. She stopped at a stall selling small metal toys. She picked up a tiny ship. For a moment, her hand trembled. Then she smiled, just a little, and put it back. The galaxy would move on. Empires would rise and fall, but one story would never be forgotten. Day the Galactic Empire killed a human child and learned what it truly meant to wake humanity.